Welcome back everyone for another piercing Cobra Kai Season 6 Watch Party! With the final season upon us, all eyes are on the possible returns from the original movies. Part 1 saw reinvigorated Mike Barnes testing the students and reminding the world why he is the beloved
Karate's bad boy, Mike Barnes.
bad boy of karate. Except there really wasn't much else. With so many yet unseen characters, you would have hoped or thought more would pop up in Part 1. I personally thought Julie Pierce was showing up, maybe even in the first episode, and clearly she did not. While that precise prediction didn't pan out, it is now looking even more likely she will show up later in this season. This comes courtesy of Ralph himself. He was asked about potential comebacks in the show. Look at how he replied.
Oh, I can't mention names, but there might be one or two. Or there are some that have shown up in a small capacity that I would like to see a larger capacity. How about that?
Okay, right off the top, he is definitely talking about different people. His first answer is definitely implying there will be comebacks of people who haven't shown up yet.
Oh, I can't mention names, but there might be one or two.
His shift to people who already have appeared, but in a small capacity, definitely implies the return of characters who have already appeared, obviously.
Or there are some that have shown up in a small capacity that I would like to see a larger capacity. How about that?
Now, in regards to that second part, it's tough to gauge who he is referring to. He could be referring to Mike Barnes, as he does show up in Part 1, but it could also refer to Bobby or other small characters. Either way, that speculation is for another video. Now, for the first part of his answer, he is definitely referring to characters who haven't yet appeared. Already we can tell there are at least some characters who are coming based on his reply. So we definitely know there will be some characters who haven't been back yet are going to appear based on his reply. What is especially key here is what happens next. The reporter asks about Hilary Swank.
I keep rooting for Hilary Swank.
Yeah, well, who doesn't, you know? And that's the one piece that would be interesting, you know? So, you know.
Okay, for goodness sakes, look at that. I can't remember the last time Ralph gave the camera a wink like this. Keep in mind, he's talking to the reporter this whole time. Then he's trailing off about Hilary Swank. He said it would be interesting, like he doesn't already know what happens in Season 6. Then, as he's talking to the reporter, he actually turns to the camera for this sly glance wink.
I keep rooting for Hilary Swank.
Yeah, well, who doesn't, you know? And that's the one piece that would be interesting, you know? So, you know.
Listen, folks, Season 6 is shot and done. Ralph's work is almost completed. He knows what happens and who is showing up. Sometimes in live interviews, people's natural instincts take over, especially when they're keeping secrets. And even more especially when they're keeping secrets they know the world wants to know. Ralph is giving it away. It's right in front of you. All you have to do is open your eyes and see it. Of course, then, Ralph isn't the only one giving interviews about all this. Hilary Swank herself has come up for questioning. Hilary Swank has been promoting her new movie, Ordinary Angels, and gave an interview with Collider. First off, he asked her about the new movie that's hijacking the Karate Kid brand to make money. She didn't even know it existed.
Is there a new Karate Kid being made? What are they calling it?
I don't think it has a title yet.
Because I was the next Karate Kid.
Ooh.
That's right. Is it going to be like the next Karate Kid?
Okay, let's ignore that and focus on what we're really here for. She was asked if she will return in Cobra Kai. Well, here's how she answered.
I don't think I am.
Well, I guess that seals it. I don't think I am. That's what she said. Obviously, anyone who thinks that is proof she's not coming back shouldn't be taken seriously in life. It's as misguided as the people who believe Hayden when he said there were only 10 episodes in the season. Goodness gracious. While there's nothing certain, the characteristics of lying aren't that complicated. Cobra Kai Wisdom mentioned how she looks away, which is part of it but not everything. That's about how people don't want to make direct eye contact while lying. She actually looks back at the end, which is direct eye contact, but then she's talking to a camera and not a person anyway. It really works like this. Telling the truth is easy. You just say what it is. If you lie, you have to think about what your lie is going to be. Well, look at her.
I don't think I am.
She had to think about it. Keep in mind, season 6 is in production right now. If she were coming back, she would have been contacted in some way. If she weren't contacted, she could have easily said, "They never even asked me, so I'm shooting another movie instead." But of course, she didn't say that. The concept of a person having to think about what to say can get overcomplicated, but it doesn't have to be. You can usually tell the difference between some random detail a person may have to think about or remember versus someone trying to think of a lie. Now rewatch Hilary Swank answer a very simple question.
But I think more people are interested in seeing you in Cobra Kai.
Oh, okay, so we'll move off of mine being in the movie. I don't think I am.
While she didn't pause like that other guy, you understand that if she had to think about what she was going to say, like that, she's hiding something. The only thing to hide is her return to Cobra Kai. It's worth noting that when Thomas Ian Griffith came back in season 4, they called him at least a month before shooting and said, "You're coming to Atlanta." Obviously, there had been discussions with him before that too. In a similar situation, that would have been back in December, not to mention when they originally started last May. This is a very long way to say there's nothing to think about. She already knows if the answer is yes or no. If it were no, she could say so, easily. If she has to think about what to say, well, she has to think about it. Here we are again, something to hide. So the next big question is, if she does come back, what is she doing and when does it happen? Well, I'd been predicting for a while that she would be a fighter in the Sensei bracket of the Sekai Taikai. I'm no longer sure that's the case, mostly because there's no clear indication of such a bracket in the tournament. I mean, based on how part 1 went, they never discussed or mentioned any need for a Sensei bracket. I just feel like if that were going to be happening, it would have been mentioned at some point, and I don't quite believe Johnny and Daniel both missed that entirely. Like if they knew they needed a female Sensei, they would have gotten one by now. This means Hilary Swank returning for part 2 is less likely. I tend to think she returns for part 3. I admit I don't yet know how. Maybe whatever happens at the end of part 2 isn't exactly the end of Cobra Kai, and everything extends into part 3 somehow. I do think she still ends up fighting Kim Da-eun. I just don't know how or the context. I may have some further theories as we progress, but right now there just isn't much other than the likelihood of that matchup. Are you excited for Hilary Swank, or are you dreading it because you didn't like that movie? I know many of you feel that way. Let me know. I have a lot of great Cobra Kai videos, so be sure to check them all out. Have a great day. I'll see you at the next watch party.